In Arabic, each letter has its specific articulation point. There is major ones and smaller minor ones. The Arabic language has 28 letters that make the Arabic alphabets. The first letter of the alphabet is easy. It's called Alif. 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 Alif sits right on top of the line from top down. There is really nothing special about Alif, just a straight line. Alif, it's like you're saying, uh, 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 Alif. Alif is pronounced from the empty space of the mouth and the throat. There is really nothing special about Alif. Alif is also a med letter or long vowel. It has two elements to it. It could be light or heavy depending on the letters preceding it. For example, Alif with the letter Sod is going to be heavy. Saw, saw. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن الله مع الصابرين صابرين. But alif with the letter ba is light. Ba, ba, it's light. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم أفمن اتبع رضوان الله كمن باء بسخط من الله أفمن اتبع رضوان الله كمن باء بسخط من الله. Huh? Not ba, it's ba. It's light. You see? And like the sad, which is heavy. So remember, alif can be light or heavy depending on the preceding letter. Now, examples of alif in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم. Invoking the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and symbolizing the beginning of divine guidance. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون. The second letter is ba, like the sound of the sheep. Ba. Ba is pronounced when you bring both of your lips together. Ba, ba, ba. Pretty straightforward, like bath. Example of ba from the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب سيصلى نارا ذات لهب وامرأته حمالة الحطب في جيدها حبل من مسد. Highlights the destiny of Abu Lahab and his wife. The third letter is ta, like you're saying tea, tomato, taters. Ta is pronounced from the top part of the tongue when it hits the upper front incisors. Now be careful, ta is one of the hams letters. Don't pronounce it with the hams or the Wesleyan sound, like ta, tu, t. That's wrong. When ta has a sukun, which is one of the harakat or diacritics, then you add the S sound to it, which is called the hams or the Wesleyan sound. Like, for example, كورت, فجرت, أعدت, أعتدت. Examples of ta in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل يا أيها الكافرون لا أعبد ما تعبدون لا أعبد ما تعبدون تعبدون highlights the concept of worship. The fourth letter is tha, like you're saying three. Three. Tha. Tha is pronounced from the tip of the tongue and the edge of the upper incisors touching the teeth. To produce this sound, you should be sticking your tongue out of your mouth, and the tip of your tongue should be showing. Don't make the mistake by keeping the tongue inside. That will actually give you the sa sound instead of tha. Now, example of tha in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. كيف تكفرون بالله وكنتم أمواتا فأحياكم ثم يميتكم ثم يحييكم ثم إليه ترجعون. A reminder of the destiny of man is the return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The fifth letter is Jim, like you're saying Jim. Jim is pronounced from a middle section of the tongue and roof of the mouth from inside. Avoid saying Jim. It's a slight D, Jim. It's a slight Jim, like saying Jim, right? Now, examples of Jim in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. A reminder of the sole purpose of the creation of man and jinn. The sixth letter is ha, like you're panting. You expel the air out like you have a dry mouth or dry throat out of thirst, like blowing mist on mirror or breathing on a window pane to create fog. Ha is actually the first of the six guttural letters, because when you say ha, you should feel the vibration in the middle part of the throat. And it's completely different than ha, ha, ha. So we have six guttural letters, and they are Hamza, Ha, Ain, Ha, Ghain, and Kha. And with this order, we can divide the throat into three sections: the top, the middle, and the bottom of the throat. And inshallah, we will get to this in extensive details when we learn and memorize all of the Arabic letters. In the bottom throat, we have two letters. We have Hamza and Ha. The middle throat, we have Ain and Ha. And that's where that sound comes from the middle of the throat. The upper or the top, we have Ghain and Kha. So ha is generated from the middle of the throat. Ha is also a light letter, but it's sharply pronounced. Examples of ha in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقالوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل وقالوا حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل. حسبنا invokes true tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت قال رب ارجعون حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت قال رب ارجعون. The seventh letter is kha, like clearing off the throat with open mouth. Kha. Kha is the first heavy letter we have. This letter is the closest throat letter to the mouth. The closest, which means the top of the throat, but it's the closest throat letter to the mouth. It is pronounced with an open mouth, like you're making the snoring sound. Examples of kha in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم. A reminder that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge encompasses all things. The eighth letter is dal, like you're saying dad, dal, dal. It is pronounced from the tip of the tongue towards the upper incisors. Dal is also a light letter. It's not dal, it's dal. Da, do, di. Now be careful. Dal and ta are very close but different. When I say da, do, di, ta, tu, ti, you should be able to differentiate between these two sounds. They have a very close articulation points. Dal, da, do, di, ta, ta, tu, ti. Examples of dal in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل إن كانت لكم الدار الآخرة عند الله خالصة من دون الناس فتمنوا الموت إن كنتم صادقين. Highlights the concept of stability and residence. The ninth letter is dal. This is similar to the grammatical article in the English when you say the or then. Now, notice the location of the tongue when you say dal, which is the previous letter. The tongue is inside the mouth and against the top of the teeth when you say dal, dal, d, d, dal. However, the tongue is almost out of the mouth and between the teeth when you say the, thal, thal. So thal is pronounced from the tip of the tongue when it hits lower edge of the upper incisors. Thal. And the tip of the tongue should show outside of the mouth. Thal. Thal. The tip of the tongue is actually sticking out. One of the common mistakes people make is that they keep the tongue inside, which gives us the sound zal. So if I wanted to say dhal and keep the tongue inside, it will come out as zal, when in fact it should be dhal with the tongue sticking out. Dhal. You see? If I keep my tongue inside while trying to say dhal, it comes out as zal. And one of the common mistakes that people make when they say أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم, they say أعوذ because they keep the tongue inside instead of saying أعوذ, the أعوذ. Make sure the tip of the tongue is sticking out. Dhal, dhal, dhal. Examples of dhal in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. ذلك, ذلك, indicating a specific reference. That is the Quran, the yaqeen, the burhan, the guidance. The 10th letter is Ra. It can be heavy or light as well. And it is pronounced from top part of the tip of the tongue when it hits the gums inside. Ra is heavy. Ri is light. So Ra is pronounced based on its location. Where is it located in the word or sentence? Is there a kasra or a fatha before? Is there a sukun? There are so many rules that govern Ra. Examples of Ra in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. Refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attribute of mercy. The 11th letter is Za. It is basically the Z alphabet in the English language, like zebra, Ziad, Zoo, zone. Za is pronounced just between the two incisors. When you put the tip of the tongue between the two incisors and slightly close to the lower incisor. Z, z, za, zu, z. However, many people will mix again dhal, which we talked about earlier, with za when they say a'uzu. Remember, when you keep the tongue inside, it comes out as z, a'uzu, instead of a'udhu, right? The, thu, the, za, zu, zi. Examples of za in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة. وأقيموا الصلاة وآتوا الزكاة. الزكاة, emphasizing the importance of giving in Islam. The 12th letter is Sin. The 12th letter is Sin, making a hissing sound like s. Seen as in the English, seen. Sin is pronounced when placing the tongue between the two incisors with a slight push at the top of the mouth. S, Sin. Now be careful. Sin is very close to za, zain articulation point. Watch how close they are when I say za, sin, za, sin. When you have sukoon on the sin, make sure to pronounce it s with the hems. Examples of sin in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولله يسجد ما في السماوات والأرض ولله يسجد. Make sure it's pronounced seen and not za, because a common mistake is made when people say ولله يسجد. They pronounce seen as za. ولله يسجد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار, highlighting the vastness of creation. The 13th letter is sheen. Watch this. Seen, s, sheen, sh. The seen is making a hissing sound. S. The sheen is making the sh sound. Sh. Seen. Notice when you say sheen, the sound of a letter is spread in the mouth. Sheen. Sheen is pronounced from the middle of the tongue and the roof of the mouth. Sheen is one of the huruf al-shajariya, which means spreading the sound of the letter in the entire mouth. Example of sheen in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لإيلاف قريش إيلافهم رحلة الشتاء والصيف فليعبدوا رب هذا البيت الذي أطعمهم من جوع وآمنهم من خوف. The attributes of sheen is called tafashi in Arabic, which means the spreading of the sound of the letter in the entire mouth. Another example of sheen in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإذ تأذن ربكم لئن شكرتم لأزيدنكم ولئن كفرتم إن عذابي لشديد, emphasizing the importance of thankfulness in Islam. The 14th letter is Sad. The Sad letter is a heavy letter. It's like you're whistling seesaw, or like saying Saul, Paul, Saul, Sad. See? Sad is pronounced from the tip of the tongue when it lies on the bottom incisors. And that's how the safir or the whistle attribute comes out. This attribute of safir or the whistle sound is also in the sin and the za, and also in the sad. Sad, sad, sad. Examples of sad in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا استعينوا بالصبر والصلاة إن الله مع الصابرين. Emphasizing the virtue of prayer and patience. The 15th letter is a unique letter that no language in the history of mankind has this letter and produce this sound. It's called Dad. Therefore, the Arabic language is called Lughatul Dad, the language of Dad. Dad is pronounced when one side or two of the tongue, either this side or this side, should be hitting the upper molars. Dad, Dad, Dad. Examples of Dad in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. آمين. Al-Fatiha, the opening of the Quran. The 16th letter is Ta. It is a flat sound, and it is pronounced when you start your mouth together. Ta, ta, ta. Ta is pronounced when the top part of the tip of the tongue, when it hits the roots of the upper incisors. Ta, 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 ta. Ta is also a heavy letter as well, with the emphasis on the tongue, as if you're saying toilet, tall. The tongue should stay flat as you pronounce ta. Examples of ta from the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. Meaning the way of the prophets and the messengers. The 17th letter is similar to ta with a dot on top. It's called the. If you compare ta and the tongue is flat in ta, but in the tongue is rolling forward. The is also a heavy letter and is pronounced from the tip of the tongue and the edge of the upper incisors. Try not to stick your tongue out as much with thal and tha. It's a little less with the. Watch this. Tha, the, the. It's just a little less. The tip of the tongue should be visible when you say the, but not too much. Examples of the from the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. Referring to the wrongdoers, the unjust. The 18th letter is Ain. It's like you're being put into a choke. Uh, 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 Ain is pronounced from the middle of the throat. Remember, Hamza, Ha, Ain, and Ha are pronounced from the middle part of the throat. You can feel the vibration in the middle of the throat if you put your finger right here. Ah, 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 Ain, Ain, Ain. Examples of Ain from the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا قالوا سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. A reminder that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all knowing, all wise. The 19th letter is Ghain. See, Ain does not have a dot. Ghain has a dot, which makes it produce a unique sound. Ghain is pronounced from the highest part of the throat. Remember, we have one, two, and three. So it is the highest part of the throat, the top part of the throat. Ain and Kha are pronounced from the top, from the same top of the throat, as if you're gargling with water. Ghain, Ghain, Gha. For example, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين 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 أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور. Highlighting Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's attribute of forgiveness. The 20th letter is Fa. It's like you're saying fire, fire, fire. Fa is pronounced from combining the edge of the upper incisors when they hit down on the inside part of the inside lower lip. Fa, 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 fa. See, the difference between fa and tha is the tongue, because in the fa, the tongue has no involvement at all. In tha, you stick your tongue out. In fa, you don't. Tha, fa, fa, fa. Examples of fa from the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا إنا فتحنا لك فتحا مبينا أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح. A reminder that the victory is near. The 21st letter, qaf, and it sounds like cough, like you're coughing. Cough, 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 cough. Some of these letters does not have equivalents in the English language or any other languages. That's why sometimes you might find it a bit difficult to pronounce, but you'll get it with a bit of practice, inshallah. Qaf is a heavy letter. It's like you're squeezing the upper portion of your throat together and ejecting the sound of qaf. Qa, 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 qaf. Almost sounds like a crow. If you ever heard a crow before, exactly sounds like a crow. Qaf, qaf, qaf. Qaf is pronounced from the deepest part of the tongue. So the closest to the throat and the furthest from the mouth. Qaf, qaf, qaf. Examples of qaf in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان. فإني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's time is different than ours, emphasizing the power of the Creator. The 22nd letter is kaf, as if you're saying kilogram or calf. Calf is pronounced from the back of the tongue, but actually closer to the mouth, opposite of the qaf articulation point. Calf, qaf, qaf, calf, calf, qaf. Now, there is a difference between calf and qaf, so you need to be careful with the mouth open in qaf. Qaf. Calf is slightly soft. Examples of calf in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه. Referring to the Quran itself. The 23rd letter is lam, the letter L in the English language. Lam is pronounced from the tip of the tongue when it hits the gums of the upper incisors. La, lam, lam, la, la, lam. It's not lam, it's lam, soft. Examples of lam from the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Expressing a profound concept about the nature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's existence. This is the concept of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Islam. This is the same concept all the prophets and the messengers preached to other people, nations, and tribes. The 24th letter is meme. Meme. Meme, as if you're saying mom. Meme is basically pronounced from bringing both lips together. M, m. When you combine both lips and close up, meme. It's like the English alphabet M with a nasal sound coming from the nose. Meme. Examples of meme in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين والله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين, referring to the wrongdoers, the unjust. The 25th letter is Noon. It's like the N alphabet in the English language. Noon, Noon, Noon. Noon is pronounced from the tip of the tongue when it hits the farthest part of the upper incisors. The tip of the tongue when it hits the farthest part of the incisors. Noon is below lam articulation point. Noon, lam, lam, noon, noon, lam. There is a ghunna, a sound, a nasal sound in noon. Example, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم نون والقلم وما يسطرون. There is a ghunna, nasal sound. Example of noon in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم نور على نور يهدي الله لنوره من يشاء ويضرب الله الأمثال للناس والله بكل شيء عليم. This is one of the most fascinating chapters in the Quran. It describes the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us His light. Ameen. The 26th letter is wow, like the English pronoun we. It's not wow, it's wow, soft and light letter. Wow is pronounced when you put both lips together and you stick them out. Wow, wow, wow. Bring the two lips together and stick them out. Wow, wow, wow. It's not wow. With the wow, you open your mouth slightly bigger. With wow, it's soft. Example of wow in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها والشمس وضحاها والقمر إذا تلاها, refers to the vastness of the universe. The 27th letter is ha. If you compare ha with ha, there is a major difference. Ha, as if you're out of breath, and it's a very soft letter. Ha. Ha is a harsh sound. It's like you're panting. The ha is more relaxed, as if you're inhaling and exhaling air. Ha is pronounced from the deepest part of the throat. The deepest part of the throat. Remember Hamza, Ha, Ain, Ha, Ghain, and Kha. Ha, Ha, Ha. Examples of Ha in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين, again referring to the divine guidance provided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. The 28th And last letter is ya. It's like you're saying, yay, we have finished the Arabic letters finally. Ya is pronounced from the middle part of the tongue and the roof of the mouth. Ya, ya, ya. Examples of ya in the Quran. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن هذا لهو حق اليقين فسبح باسم ربك العظيم. It refers to the certainty and conviction of this deen. The 29th letter is Hamza. Arabic has 28 letters, and we have mentioned all of them one by one. The Hamza makes it the 29th letter. Hamza is usually goes with the Alif, and most scholars consider that the Hamza to be an Alif. Therefore, it's not a letter by itself. Hamza is pronounced from the deepest part of the throat, the deepest, the furthest. Hamza and Ha. Ha, hu, he. A, u, e. I hope you found these classes beneficial and structured enough to achieve your objective. The goal remains to provide you with a complete path to learning the Arabic language. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask in the comment section or reach out to me directly. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.